All right, what's up, everyone? This is episode number 45 of the RUDIS Wrestling Podcast. Today we have a special guest. You see him in the screen right there. That is none other than Isaiah Martínez. Isaiah, what's up today?
Nothing much. I'm doing good. What's up with you?
Did you get? I got a strength and conditioning workout in already. How about you?
I just had some light cardio in the morning.
Oh, so I got one up on you already.
You did, yeah. You're already conquering the day better than I am.
Yep. And well, I just took a wrestling match, so I actually got a wrestling workout 2 a day today. You have anything later today?
Yeah, I got a workout at 3:15 today, so
Okay.
just like a regular practice, wrestling
Nice.
workout.
Is it an RTC practice? Is it individual practice?
It will be an RTC, yeah.
Okay. Who are your main partners?
I'm the volunteer assistant at
Yep.
Illinois, so I train a lot with the college guys.
Okay.
But during the season, I would work out a lot with our 84-pounder Emery Parker. He's two-time All-American for Illinois.
he's good.
So yeah, he gives me a good feel. He's like one of those guys that are like really, really strong. So kind of a power wrestler, which I'm also a power wrestler. So it kind of nullifies that advantage for me. And so I had to be a little bit more creative when I'm wrestling someone who's heavier and stronger than me.
Absolutely. Is he gonna wrestle freestyle? He was a senior, correct?
Yeah, he's a senior. I don't think he's gonna wrestle freestyle. I think he's gonna just gonna go to graduate school and go make $1 million. I think
What's he gonna make $1 million
in the financial world, right?
Okay.
So
A business
yeah,
guy. Business
yeah,
guy.
he's a business guy. He came into college. I mean, he never won a state championship. Was not even the top 100 recruit in his class. So for him to go be a two-time All-American, he just like never really had the idea that he could be that good at wrestling.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. And who do you ever work out with Coach Poeta? He's pretty beastly.
I did a lot last year
Yeah.
when I was still a college athlete, but not so much anymore that
Okay.
I've graduated. He gets really sore after like one go. He's so competitive though, like
Gets really sore. Tell him to toughen up, Buttercup.
he's the kind of guy he gets like so worked up because if someone says, okay, you got to work out with like Isaiah at 3:15, he'll think about it for like 12 hours because he's so competitive. He wants to win the practice even though he's not competing anymore. So, but he's just kind of guy.
Nice. So I guess I'm not familiar with the Illinois RTC. Are there any other athletes at the RTC? Or just
Yeah,
you?
right. Yeah. Actually, our RTC coach right now is Brian Medlin.
Mm-hmm.
We have Zane Richards,
Yep.
Jesse Delgado. He's still training.
Is he going to wrestle for Mexico or something? Because I haven't seen this guy wrestle in years.
You know what? I think there was an idea one time. I think he tried to go through the process, but I think it's kind of a little sketchy trying to like they have like certain rules and they want you to go over there and do certain
really?
things. I think it became a little too much at one point. But
So the Michigan RTC, they got to figure it out because they got people wrestling for everywhere. You see them?
Yeah, they got Michi wrestling for Serbia and what is it?
Well, the Means are wrestling for some random country.
Wasn't it like Lebanese?
No, that's Abernathy. Abernathy's Lebanon, and then there's someone else that they have. Habit's wrestling for Slovenia or something.
Yeah, Slovenia.
Yeah. Weird, right?
Yeah, they're doing something. I think the rules might be a little bit different for some of the European countries, but for Mexico, there's kind of a lot of hoops to jump through.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Because there was also the rumor that Pico was going to wrestle for Mexico also.
Yeah, I saw a picture on Twitter. I think he posted one time of his like Mexican passport. And
really?
Yeah, it was just his like passport, and I was like, that's interesting. You would think he would have an American passport, but
yeah,
he's using his Mexico passport. So I don't know.
What about Delgado? Delgado told me he was going to fight a long time ago. Is that's not happening?
I don't think so. Maybe after he's done. He had like a long string of injuries.
Oh yeah, he did. Labrum?
Double labrums, both sides.
Oh, terrible.
Bulging disc, stenosis. So he was out for a while and with like 3 surgeries.
He just needs to retire.
He's just got back a few months ago, and he's training good right now. He looks actually pretty good. So he's healthy and he's going to be at the Open. So we're going to see what he's got. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because I always thought besides the leg passes, that his style would translate really well to freestyle. He moves so well. I also frankly thought his style would translate well for fighting because he has such good footwork. Get in and out and get in and out his takedowns. Because it's a little different there. And also, you told me recently that you weren't fighting. I always thought you were going to fight.
I always thought maybe that it could be a possibility. I really just don't. I don't. I do want to wrestle, and I want to become the best in the world. Right. That's
Sure.
my immediate goal, is to become the best in the world at wrestling. It just never worked out. I really don't have an in, and I'm at that point in my life where like these next couple of years, these few years are pretty crucial, right? They're the prime of my athletic career.
Yeah.
And it's like, what am I gonna do with it? Am I gonna stick with the craft that I've been trying to perfect all my life, or am I gonna become a beginner and maybe waste three of the best athletic years of my life?
Sure. So it sounds like you already kind of got your eyes on. You're going through 2024. Is that what I'm reading into that?
I'm actually not sure if I'm all going to make it all the way through 2024, but right now it's just 2020, 2019. I'm just trying to again, just make a team and be the best in the world.
Okay, cool. And then what do you do when you grow up?
What am I going to do when I grow up? I don't know. I think for a long time I wanted to be a college wrestling coach and, try to win NCAA championships as a team and do stuff like that. I don't know. As I get older, I'm like, I'm not as afraid of like venturing out from wrestling. So, I think I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, so let's go all the way back. We kind of talked here and now, a little bit of the future. Let's go all the way back. Tell us where you got started. I'll tell you my earliest memories of you, but let's go. Where'd you get started? How'd you start wrestling? And all that stuff.
Man, I started wrestling when I was 4. I think most kids do that are wrestling at a high level now. They start pretty young. I just wrestled freestyle. We had a freestyle club. I'm from a small town called Corcoran, California, about 30 miles away from where I actually went to high school, Lemoore, California.
Yeah.
So I wrestled. I got into wrestling because my older brother was a wrestler. He's a couple years older than me, and wrestling was kind of the only thing that stuck with me. That was the only thing I was ever had an immediate success with. So like, when you're a kid and you get that like positive reinforcement, you're like, I'm good at this. I want to do this, and it kind of just stuck. After that, I was a pretty good kids wrestler. I think I was just so much stronger than all the other kids that's such a big advantage when you're 8 years old, 9 years old. So I had a decent amount of success, and then for high school I went to Lemoore High School. My head coach was Marcio Botello. He was an All-American.
Oh,
he was
I remember
he was the last All-American for Fresno State before Josh Hokett this year.
Yeah.
So he kind of brought me up, and I won a few state championships in California, which was pretty difficult. I think. I mean, it's one division.
And you came from a real good era. I mean, that's kind of what I was going to bring up. I don't recall what grade you were in, but I remember first watching you. You were wrestling. I want to say maybe it was the Freak Show, but it could have been something else. And you were wrestling against Alex Cicernos, who was kind of like the hot shot at that point in time. Which now I preach that kids can get better and better and better. Doesn't really matter where you're at today, as long as you're willing to work, you can make great progress. And Alex Cicernos is a great example of that. He was like the thing way back in the day and never did it in college. But I remember watching the match. You lost, but you were way more aggressive, and to me, you had way more tools. Like tried a lot of things, and he was kind of just defensive stalling. And that was where I'm like, damn, this kid. I think this kid. I'm not sure he's gonna be really good, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna be really good. What do you remember about the Cicernos? Do you remember that match, and was that a rivalry? That was a rivalry, correct?
I mean, we were from like the same like Fresno area, so and he was always. I don't know if it was a rivalry, but he was always so much better than me. Right? So it's like you can't be a rival with someone if you never beat them or
you never beat him?
That close. No, I never beat him.
Never.
Never.
What?
Yeah, we only wrestled a couple times or a few times when we were kids and. Couple times or once in high school, but he was really good. I think I remember that match. I remember losing even though
was it the Freak Show?
It was the Freak Show. It was in Vegas. That was my sophomore year, going into my sophomore year in high school, and I mean, he was just honestly, he was just a better tactician, better at wrestling, right,
Yeah.
at the time. I think, I mean, I was talking to my coach the other day about not that specific instance, but like the way you want high school kids to like think about their wrestling, right? You don't want, like, for me personally, I never believed that I was ever near my ceiling. And you look at some high school kids now, and they're so polished, like so advanced. You're like, where do they go from there?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, one thing, I mean, just to interject there, I guess one thing I would say, this is the feeling I had during the match I just referenced, was that, like, some kids are just trying to win. And when you just try to win, essentially, you're saying you're near your ceiling. I would say that you're just not going to get, by having that mentality, especially so young. Sometimes you can do it when you're in college, like I say, at Dean Highland, get away with it. But when you do it when you're really young, you fail to ever make any progress, and then someone like you, and listen, I don't know your whole training thing, but just from watching some of your matches and stuff, a kid who's aggressive, trying everything, they're going to get a lot better because they're out there trying stuff, they're putting effort in, and they're just going to, create all this offense and stuff. And that's kind of, I feel like what happened with you is you had a lot of different ways you could score. You were super aggressive, and he just never developed past like this, like in the box, I'm not going to give him a lot of points. I'm going to win matches by squeaking them out type of guy.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's like a multifaceted thing. There's reasons why there's kids that are aggressive and that try things that they get better. I mean, it's one thing. It's a lack of fear too. It's, you're gonna run into a lot of failure trying to wrestle like that. And so it's a lot of learning moments. But
hold on, let me stop you on that. That's a great point you made. And I honestly, I think, like you said, so you said two things that were really good. You said multifaceted, which, I think one of the most important, if I could say pick one asset to give a little kid and then we'll work on everything else, it's fearlessness. I want them to be completely and utterly fearless. So how did you become that way? Was it your dad not worried about failure? Was it him saying, go get it? Was it your coach? Was it just you that somehow came up with it?
It was definitely my dad, right? Like, we grow up in a culture, like you hear like Mexican fighters, right? Mexican boxers, right? Like they're in there brawling, right? And that, I think, right, we're wrestlers or fighters, and we're in a combat sport, and it was no different, right? And so, my dad really didn't know anything about wrestling, right? He knew if I scored more points or if I was more aggressive, I was probably going to win this match. And so it was, I can't even tell you, how many times I was told, just attack. That's like such like a simple phrase, but if you apply it to your wrestling in like all aspects, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
So yeah,
because I always preach that, because it's and so the one thing I always say to my kids if I take them to a tournament or something, I said, listen, all I really want for you today is effort. If you give me effort, we'll figure everything else out. We'll figure it out. I mean, over time, it's like and to your point, if you're being aggressive and say you're making a mistake and you're a 9th grader, no big deal. By 10th grade, you're going to figure it out. Then you make another mistake. By 11th grade, you figure it out, and then you just keep building on these skills.
I mean, it's getting harder and harder for these kids, though. I mean, there's so much more attention on them, so much more incentive to win, right? Like, I remember being 15 years old and all of a sudden you see your name in a magazine and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? This is everyone wants to be good, right? So like that's only been increasing in the past couple of years. And so it has made them better, but I could also see how a lot of kids are feeling a lot more pressure just to win.
Well, so I would say, the argument I would say it there is that it's more important than ever to have your parents and your coaches be on a page that's of development, right? Because if the parents and the coaches are pushing, you need to win right now, we're going to cut a whole bunch of weight, we're going to do this, this, and this, because that's going to help us win right now. That's going to obviously create a kid who probably doesn't like wrestling, who has a little bit of resentment because people are forcing him to do things. And, on the opposite end, you can say, I don't care if those kids are doing that. This is our plan. We're going to stick to it, and hopefully over time it's going to work. And, I can tell you that's kind of what we're doing here in Wisconsin, and it is having success for our kids, even though some of them now are having the, high-level success in high school, but a lot of them didn't, and but they are doing well in college.
Yeah. So what do you think? Like, is it like what do you preach? You like want them to like? Because I've like seen like these some kids are like I want to win a scholarship, right? And that's
Yeah.
like they
No, it's
want to earn
huge.
it, right? They want and it is huge, but like I found the kids that are like, yeah, I want to earn a scholarship. They also lack in development later on because it's like that's the end all be all.
Interesting. So I would say we, number one, we preach effort, which I think is huge. If you just get kids that go and you get kids that go out and wrestle hard, things are turning well. Number two, we try not to have our young kids compete too frequently. We try not to have anyone under the age of high school cut any weight, which I think is huge from a mentality standpoint. Man, Isaiah, I'm 34, and cutting weight will make you hate shit. It'll make you hate it. I just had to cut weight again for my last fight. I'm like, this sucks. I hate this.
Yeah, you never imagine, you're like you think you're right, you're like 24, you're basically done with college and you're like there's no way I'm going to do this for 10 more years, right? There's no way I'm going to have to cut weight till your mid 30s, right?
Yeah. So
I could totally imagine that.
Cutting weight's miserable. So that's one. We try to have none of our under high school kids cut any weight. And then right now there's just this great environment. We built a love for the sport. Kids love wrestling. They love it. They know. I noticed that I traveled to other clubs is other clubs, they don't have a huge knowledge of like college wrestlers. My kids, they'll be coming in on Monday and they'll be talking about whatever college matches happen on Sunday or whatever international match. And there's just a love for the sport. And I think that's gigantic. So I think
that's awesome. No, that's like such a hard thing to like break through with some kids is like all they think about is winning, right? But like if you could develop a love for what you do, and like that's how I really like that's how I sometimes get a sense for like kids that we're recruiting, like that they actually really love and enjoy the sport. It's like, man, they know what's going on, not only in their weight classes and the best guys in their weight, but like they just know what's going on.
Yeah.
And they'll talk about other wrestlers, like other countries, and that's really important, I think, for them.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get back to you. So how many high school state titles you win? 2? 3?
I won 3. Yeah.
3. That's pretty damn good. Who'd you lose to the year you didn't win?
I lost to Chris McCate in the quarterfinals.
Oh, I remember him. He was good from Old Dominion, correct?
Yeah, it's like I think he was like a 1 or 2 time All-American.
Yeah,
he was really good.
Nice.
Got some penalty points. Actually ended up losing that match via caution points, right?
Ooh.
And so it was a pretty brutal loss, but ended up coming all the way through the backside. And I ended up wrestling Jesse Delgado for
Delgado?
Yeah, we used to be the same weight class.
I never realized you were that small.
Yeah, I was tiny. I never broke 100 pounds until I was 14 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I was a small guy. I was little.
Wow. So you wrestled 103 as a freshman or 106?
No, I wrestled 125. I had a big growth spurt after in 8th grade.
Jesse's older than you.
Yeah, he's about 3 or 4 years older than me.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so then in some way, somehow, Illinois starts recruiting you. What? Obviously, I'm sure you're recruited by many other programs. What attracted you to Illinois? What made you end up landing there?
I was really getting recruited pretty much. I mean, my top 2 choices were Illinois or Oklahoma State.
Okay.
Right.
Why? Because you like Chris Pelleton? Boo! I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's a little more guy.
I mean, it's like when John Smith, 6-time world champion, like an Olympic world champion, in your living room. How do you say no to that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
My parents were starstruck. And my dad was like.
Well, I thought your dad wasn't a wrestler.
No, but like I mean, after being around for so long, he like understood, right? And like so when you have like John Smith and Eric Guerrero coming to your house, it's like wow, this is a very real thing now.
Yeah.
I think
John Smith has a really good presence also. He just has like this air about him when he's in the room.
He's the greatest of all time, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think what really drew me to Illinois was, the things that they were telling me, it really spoke to who I wanted to be as a college wrestler, right? I just, I'm pretty individualistic. They told me, I think one thing they told me is like, they basically left it up to me, right? They were like, you can win a national championship at any weight you go. You're gonna be that guy because we believe that you're that good.
Yeah.
And that really spoke to me. When Coach Perry and Hunter and Hef were recruiting me, like I liked all of them. So And then when I went on the visit, like the guys really resonated with me, and um, it was just a good fit for me.
Nice. Okay. Cool. So I guess the one piece I remember your high school career a little bit. I remember obviously your college career. I don't remember your redshirt year at all. How was your redshirt year?
My redshirt year was okay. I didn't compete that much. I had like 13 matches, one loss at Midlands.
What?
No, two losses at Midlands. I was
Okay.
like 13-2 that year. Um,
Why didn't you wrestle a lot?
just I was adjusting to living across the country, right? And
Yeah.
I think my head wasn't necessarily on straight to compete. I was just trying to like survive. I was like trying to just get my footing on life, moving so far away and never not being totally unprepared for college, right? I was so unprepared for college, right?
What do you mean?
I like just the lifestyle. I was
We're talking about like doing your own dishes or doing the schoolwork or balancing your bills or what part?
just everything, right? Like
Really?
I'm pretty conscientious about my schoolwork and
Okay.
bills, and I was really just like learning how to when I went there, like I'm from California,
Yeah.
like learning
Uh-huh.
how to go through a Midwest winter by
Yeah.
myself was awful, terrible, right? I mean, I just like the way of life was entirely different. Not even just being a college wrestler, right? That was a shock in itself, but just living a different life, like
Yeah.
it's so different.
So were you in the dorms? Who's your roommate?
Yeah, I was in a triple dorm with Brooks Black and Kyle Langender. Kyle was our
Okay.
57-pounder for a couple of
Yep.
years, and Brooks was our heavyweight. But personally, I like my roommates, but I hated the dorms. I could not stand living in the dorms.
Why? Too
It's,
confined of a space or something?
it was just like so cramped, and you're like always getting sick, and there's just germs everywhere, and it's just like I don't know. It's a cool experience, like meeting people, but
Yeah.
the dorms weren't for me.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So then, so you're redshirt year, you get your feet underneath you. Were you ready to go by the next summer? All good.
No, I ended up making a decent run that summer at the junior trials and made it to the
Oh yeah.
finals and
You wrestled Anthony Valencia.
I got beat up pretty good. It was a pretty big moment in my wrestling career. It was like, you come to a crossroads and you're like, you're tired of not being number one. So like what, like it's just like a moment of like brutal honesty with yourself, and there was a choice to go one way or the other, and I just wanted to be the best, wanted to win a national championship. So made the right changes, and probably 2 months after that, I was probably ready to win a national championship, but it was just the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Okay, well,
Right.
come
So
on. That was a pretty powerful statement. So, what I mean, if you don't mind me asking, what were the changes? You say you come into a line in the road and you got to go one way or the other. What was it? What changed? What'd you do?
it was just more of a. I think for me, it was accepting responsibility for everything, right? Everything in my career, having to not leave any stone unturned.
Yeah.
Right. Um, if it was, making wrestling and winning and being the best and progressing and doing all those things, the central focus of my life, right? Where like most of my actions were based around winning a national championship, trying to be the best. Like if I was doing something, I would ask myself, is this in line with what I want to be and who I want to be? And if it didn't line up with what that goal was, I wouldn't do it. And if it did, I would.
Oh,
Right. And so
love it.
it was just a change in focus. Right. Because I think
Yeah.
the physical tools were always there. And
Sure.
then I also did. I learned how to wrestle harder.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to listen better. Understand that I didn't actually know everything, even though when I'm 18, I probably thought I did. But just making wrestling like the central like principle in my life.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, well that leads us into your freshman year. Your freshman year was, well, about as good as a freshman year can get. You won nationals. You had a lot of really, really, really tough people in your bracket. James Green, Dylan Ness. Who am I forgetting?
Ian Miller.
Ian Miller.
Yeah.
Real Budo was the next year.
Real Budo. No, that was who I wrestled in the finals that year.
Your freshman year?
Yep.
I thought that was your sophomore year.
No, I ended up wrestling Nolf my sophomore year.
Oh, yeah, duh. Okay, duh. My bad.
Yeah, so it was a really good weight class. I mean, just guys that were way more experienced than me,
Yeah.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, and the only way I was really able, like I say this to my guys a lot, right? Like I think they look at like the 35-0 and going undefeated and kind of just having a great year, and they're like you were just so much better than everyone that year. And I was like, and in my head I was like, no, what you don't understand is I was not more technically advanced than a guy like James Green or explosive or like creative as a guy like Dylan Ness, but I had to wrestle so much harder, so much more focused, so much more intensely just to win. Because I was what 18, 19 years old, um, and I didn't have all the experience, but I just wanted to win, and so uh, that's something I tell them. It's like no, I've gotten a lot better over the 4 years in college and figured out technical issues that I had no idea that I could do at the time, right? And so that's just something. That's actually a story I share with a lot of my guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I would agree with that. And I can't remember every single match your freshman year, but one thing I do remember your freshman year is you found different and unique ways to win. I mean, like I believe you rode James Green out a couple times. Isn't that right?
Yeah, just like not a very good rider either. Just kind
You
of
just figured out how to ride him.
just figuring it out, kind of.
Yeah, and then Dylan Ness, you had a couple wild matches with. Yeah, I mean, I kind of that's how I remember your freshman year. You figured out what you definitely weren't that much better, but you figured a way to put every single match together and get your hand raised. So that was huge. Okay, sophomore year, you go into the Jason Nolf rivalry. He gets you at home. I believe it was at your house in the dual meet, and then you came back and beat him in Big Tens and Nationals. I don't think you had very many other close matches that year, right?
I mean, I had a handful. All right, I was dealing with a lot of injuries that year. All
Okay.
right, high ankle sprains. Like never from going from like never having a real injury to like actually dealing with injuries, and like being the number one ranked guy. And um, I think I didn't handle. That year was different. I wasn't nearly as dominant. I won, but uh, I had a lot of issues with. I think when you become so good, or like you think you're so good, like you think that it gets easier.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I learned, like it doesn't ever get easier. Just because you're good, it never ever gets easier. After
Yeah.
that, it only gets harder. So I struggled with that a lot that year, but I was able to salvage it and come together. I mean, I was almost too big to make 157, so
Really?
I was struggling. I was struggling with weight that year too.
Damn.
With a high ankle sprain and hand injuries and not being able to run because of the ankles, and I was struggling a little bit, but I was able to salvage it and put it together and end up winning at the end of the year. So it was a good year.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, um, were you shocked Jason Nolf never won a dang Hodge Trophy? Because I'm kind of
Yes,
shocked.
absolutely. I mean, he was, he's a very unique competitor, right?
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
so deceiving, right? And like when you wrestle him, he's like trying to finish on that guy is incredibly difficult.
Well, he's so ridiculously strong, even though he doesn't look strong at all.
He's really strong. Like that's
Yeah.
one thing I didn't realize, like how strong he actually was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Abnormally strong.
yeah. But yeah, man. If he just like didn't let guys to his legs, he would be really good.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have a great freestyle career once he figures it out.
But so what do you? I mean, you think? And well, 'cause I can speak from my experience. You weren't as much of a scrambler, but someone like me who was a scrambler, I had I had adjustment. The adjustment took me a year. There's no doubt about it, and it was just like it was really tough. I had to put a lot of focus into it, and Jason obviously relies on a lot of scrambling. So I almost feel like he's gonna have. Now I want to say a hard go at it. He's gonna be good, obviously, but I think it's gonna take him a year to really, really figure out the way he needs to wrestle.
Yeah, I feel the same, right? I mean, it's taken me about a year to figure it out as well in freestyle. But he's more reliant on those scores, and I think one thing that he's gonna have to shore up is like those cheap exposures.
Sure. Yeah.
Those will kill you in a freestyle match.
Yeah. He actually had one match. Jason had a match against. Who the heck was it? It was some experienced freestyler. Maybe it was probably 2 years ago at the Open or the Trials, and he got tipped a whole bunch of times. Damn, who was it?
It might have been. Jimmy Kennedy.
Might have been. I don't think it was Jimmy Kennedy. I think he did lose to Jimmy Kennedy though, right?
Pammy.
Pammy. I think it was Pammy. I think that's who it was. You trained with him at all? Wasn't he at the Illinois RTC?
Yeah, he was. Actually, that's probably one of the big reasons also why I was able to make jumps right away. Is I was training with Boris and Chase Pammy, who were around my size at the time, and they just used to beat the brakes off me every day.
Damn, dog, what happened to Boris, though? He's making these crazy Instagram videos all the time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Boris is my dude, but yeah, he's
what do you guys say to defend him with these videos he's making?
I don't know. I sent him a text a while ago, and just checking up on him because it's a little concerning.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's all right. He's just always been an out there dude, but being out there on his own, he's having a little more freedom with his own content. So that's just Boris.
That's funny. So those guys were instrumental in your training?
Yeah, they used to kind of take it to me for a long time.
Yeah, I can imagine those are two really, really, really tough guys. Especially when you're younger, there's something about coming into college, and these guys, they just got all these tricks, and it's freaking hard, and you don't know how to handle it, and you get your ass kicked all the time for a while.
Oh yeah, I used to like shoot in, right? Because I'd shoot a lot, attack a lot, and I would shoot in on Boris, and he used to do these front headlock chokes.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, like awful. Once I learned how to get to his legs. Which took a long time to learn how to get to his legs, first of all. And then once I got there, he just put me out every time. Right? Every time I'm like, man, I got to the leg. I should be able to score now. And nope. It took me another couple months to figure that one out too.
Dang. Yeah. That's some good training partners. That's huge. Okay. Junior year. Junior, senior will go the same thing. I think the story is the Vincenzo rivalry. You beat him, I believe, in the duels and the Big Tens, and then end up losing at nationals. What do you take away from that rivalry?
I mean, he's a good wrestler, right? And he shows up. He shows up when it's time to show up. I mean, we have a lot of respect for each other. I mean, we wrestled each other maybe 5 or 6 times. I'm not sure.
Yeah, a whole bunch.
Tremendous amount of respect for one another as competitors. He was better. He was better on those days, right? I wasn't ready to go on those final nights for whatever reason, for different reasons each time, but it's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I always thought it was an interesting matchup because you loved the underhook so much. He was so okay with being an overhook, so you always knew it. It's going to be some type of fireworks. So for me as a spectator, to be honest, I was probably cheering for you a little more than him. But I'm not hugely invested in either of your careers, so it was always fun for me to watch. Okay, so moving forward, your first year of freestyle, make Final X, you wrestled Jordan Burroughs. And then, not quite making the team. You made the U23 world team. And then I guess, so what are you looking forward to doing this year? I'm assuming Final X, U23s again, or are you too old for that?
I'm too old for U23s. I'm 24 right now, so a little too old. Trying to make a world team. There's good guys in my weight, and so
really good guys.
It's gonna be pretty interesting to see. I'm going to the Open. And I think the big question mark is Kyle Dake going to drop down to 74? Yep. Is he going to be there?
Is Derringer coming down too, or is he going up?
No, I don't think Derringer's going down. He's a big boy.
Really? He's that big now?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm guessing he's not going to go down, but okay. I don't know. I mean, I've trained with Alex on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
So I think personally he'll probably go up, I think.
Okay. Damn, that's tough.
But
tough jump for him.
I mean, he's a pretty strong dude. He gets pretty big too. So I don't know if it'll be too hard for him. So I think the real right now is seeing if Dake is going to go be at the Open, if he's going to be at the trials, right? I mean, then last year for the World Championships, I was out in Budapest as Kyle Dake's training partner, right? So We're familiar with each other, and we've wrestled. I don't even know how many times in practice matches and stuff. So,
And you guys have never wrestled in a real match, correct?
no, we did. He beat me. He beat me at the trials my junior year in college.
What year was that?
My junior year. That was
16, 15?
2016. I want to say 2017. 2017.
Ah, okay. Nice.
Yeah, and he kind of beat me pretty good, but it was a one takedown match, and so. A lot of my losses in this past year have come from inexperience in freestyle, and I'm feeling, man, like the amount of confidence I have in my just knowledge that has grown in the past year is I'm in a good place right now. So
yeah,
I'm not afraid to go up against anybody, and I truly believe that I could beat anybody in the world right now.
So is it mostly you've gotten better in parterre, in say crotch lock, chest lock, that type of stuff, or where do you think you made the most improvements?
Just positionally, right? Not breaking my position, and when I get to the leg, my finish rate, I'm trying to make it 99 to 100% every single time.
Yeah.
At least scoring a takedown or a push out, and knowing where I want to go in parterre. It's just rounding out my game in every aspect, and just constantly improving. And improving myself, but also understanding my opponents better, understanding where they're good, and not trying to, I'm not just trying to win, but like be a better, smarter wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's something that I didn't really have to do all that much in college, right? I was just get in better shape and wrestle harder, and that'll get you there. But like that doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So how about the new weigh-ins? It's the day of, obviously both days. No allowance second day. Is that hard for you? Because you were saying 57 was really hard for you in college.
No, I actually think 74 kilograms 2 days is like the perfect weight class, right?
Okay.
Like I was a little too heavy, a little too big for 57, but a little too. I think I was almost a little too small for 65 full time.
Yeah.
So 63 2 days in a row is a good place to be for me.
Okay.
I mean, it's not easy by any means to make the weight, but it's not overwhelmingly difficult. I mean, like you said, it's cutting weight.
It's perfect.
It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
It sucks. It sucks no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if anyone, that's probably going to be the toughest on Kyle, because he hasn't wrestled 74 in a while, right? He went all the way to 86. He's been at 79. I feel like for him, making 74 2 days in a row is going to be, I've heard he's not that big, but, I guess we'll wait and see till he's actually going to make 74 2 days in a row.
Nah, I think he'll be fine, right? He's an ultra disciplined, ultra focused individual, so I think he'll have no issue with it.
Okay, cool. All right, what else you got for us? You got anything else you want to finish us off with?
I mean, not really. I'm just looking forward to the Open and big matchups and making the final X and then winning that spot. That's all I'm really focusing on right now.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you for your time. Thanks for being part of RUDIS. And
yeah,
absolutely. And we will see you at the Open.
All right, sounds good.
All right, see you guys. Yeah.